Hello, teacher friends, and welcome to the fourth episode in my series of year-end Encore replays. If you're new around here, my name is Christina Whitlock, and I pride myself in being your APTF. That's Anytime Piano Teacher Friend. Because everybody needs more piano teacher friends, right? Now, just to catch you up, I am taking the end of 2023 off from writing new episodes. Not because I particularly need to, but because I'm testing this theory that I kind of already know to be true. I believe that time away from any creative act allows you to come back better than ever. So, in the meantime, I have been sharing some of my favorite episodes of Beyond Measure with you. Today's episode aired just last year, but I think it's absolutely the best reminder that I can give you this week. While we are preparing to get swallowed up in all of the chaos of December, I want to remind you that the month of January can be an absolute gift if you plan ahead properly. What do I mean? Well, give me your attention for the next 15 minutes or so, and I'll explain. Hey, real quick, before we get to today's episode, I wanted to offer a quick reminder that my newest resource is currently at its lowest price point until December 1st. Making the most of your chosen method is your first steps guide to distinguishing your instruction from the materials that you use. Because, in case you didn't know this, those two things are separate. You can teach students to play their instrument without a book telling you what you need to do next. Does that mean that I don't want you to use method books? Of course not. I love method books. But I use them in a way that support my instruction rather than the other way around, like tailoring my instruction to what comes next in the book. I feel so strongly about this that I am offering my resource for only $15 this month. As of December 1st, the price is going to double. So if you are at all curious, this is your chance to take a low-cost investment in your teaching life. Visit ChristinaWhitlock.com/methods or find the link in today's show notes. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on with the show. My friends, January is right around the corner. Obviously. I mean, I know that you know that. But I don't think that studio teachers often recognize what a gift the month of January can be. You guys, the start of the new year is the perfect time to implement change. The new year is a fantastic excuse to implement new plans in your studio. So I know that the start of the new year is full of talk about goals and choosing your word for the year and that polarizing concept of resolutions. But that is not what I'm talking about today. I want you instead to take some real time today and think long and hard about if there's anything about your studio that you are hoping to change in the future. Anything at all. I mean, big stuff and, even most importantly, the smaller stuff. We'll talk examples in a minute. But once you've thought thoroughly through that list, the things that you would like to change in the future, I want you to ask yourself if there is anything on that list that you could implement in the new year. So I know that a lot of studio teachers typically implement a lot of their changes at the start of the academic year, and that's a great time to do so. In fact, it's when I typically make the bulk of my changes as well, like in August or September. And with only a few weeks to go until the start of the new year, This is not me necessarily suggesting that you make a big jump into implementing like an entirely new tuition structure with increased rates and revised makeup policies and new practice expectations and everything that goes into like a total overhaul like that. Don't get me wrong, you totally could do that for January. But large policy overhauls like that typically work best with a decent amount of lead time communicated to your studio families before they take effect. So if you are doing a big change for the new year, I would suggest that you get right on that. So yeah, you could make big changes in January. I want to reinforce that I am all about teachers making tough decisions to better their quality of life, because in the end, it makes us more effective teachers. But instead of just the giant overhauls, let's consider the little things too. Let me ask you this. What small annoyances do you have at this point of the year? Is there anything you can do to change one or two of those things come January? For example, let's say you have been wanting to implement a no shoes in the studio rule. All right, I know this one is ripe with controversy, and I say ripe with controversy because if you go with a no shoes in the studio policy, you've also got to be prepared for some smelly feet. It's gonna happen. But if you would like to try a no shoes in the studio policy, January is a great time to make that happen. It's just so easy to say, as of January 1st, 2023, I am asking all students to remove their shoes at the door. Period. Maybe you are one of the many teachers who struggle with students who arrive too early. Now, again, this is a topic that brings about many feelings in the studio community, and every teacher has a different idea of a strategy that works for them to deal with students who arrive early. I'm not here to debate that policy with you today, though I will say if you want some ideas, either run a search in your favorite online teaching group or just email me and we'll hash out some ideas together. But back to the point. If you want to change something about your arrival or even your dismissal procedures, ta-da! January is your gift. This is the time to implement the change. Maybe people park at your studio in a funky way. Maybe they try to stay and chat too long after their student's lesson is over. Maybe you want to implement a new policy around students who forget their books. Maybe you want to express a new set of practice expectations. Maybe you want to work out a new feedback system for parents. Maybe you want to set a new expectation for recital attendance in the coming year. I just seriously want you to give some real thought to this week. Like, if you were going to issue a statement to your studio that began, effective January 1st, 2023, fill in the blank. Like, how would you complete that statement? But here's the thing, and I really need you to hear me on this, okay? Because I am not advising you to saddle yourself with a whole bunch of new responsibilities for the coming year. This is not that. I am not telling you to commit yourself to running 3 new studio events this year and promising a monthly newsletter and a weekly video update. Please do not do that. But if you have been wanting, let's say, to try a no makeup policy, this could be the time to say, effective January 1st, 2023, I will no longer be offering makeup lessons when conflicts arise on your part. Instead, I will be offering additional group classes on X, Y, and Z dates, which will account for any time you may need to miss. Period. or whatever. That's just one way to deal with makeup requests, but you get the idea. December happens to be a really great time to think about what is causing you studio-related headaches. We're all a little run down, and we are definitely ready for a break. So ask yourself right now if there is anything you could possibly do in the new year to help with the things that are currently dragging you down. What small changes could you make to your policies or to your protocol or procedures that are going to help your future self? And again, you totally have my permission to make all the big changes you want. I'm actually all for that. But you do need to know your student base and your financial needs and recognize the fact that anytime you make changes to your studio policy or your tuition, you might lose students over those decisions. This sounds awful, I know, but it really shouldn't be so scary because in the end, our studio families will make the choices that are right for them. And likewise, that's why we need to make the decisions that are right for us. And in that case, everyone wins. If either party involved in your studio is harboring resentment over policies or tuition, that's just a recipe for bitterness. And I don't like that, and it's not my vibe at all. So if you do have some big changes on the horizon, keep all those things in mind and know that you might still decide to hold on to them for August or September this year. But here's the thing. I want you to do me a favor and write them down now. Those changes that you want to make note of them today. Maybe even start working on your verbiage around the new policies. Look, it is so much easier to implement changes if you have already worked out the language. Because otherwise, you have to do all of the work, all of the writing, all of the thinking, plus that onslaught of all the emotions that these types of changes bring up, and it's just too much to deal with at once. Okay, so that's that. And by the way, if you need an accountability buddy, just send me an email. You can find me at beyondmeasurepodcast@gmail.com or DM me on social media, Beyond Measure Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I'm easy to find. So just track me down and tell me what change you are going to make in the new year. Let's get it all worked out now so that it's ready to announce soon. I promise you, your future self will thank us for it. All right, it's time for a toast. Let's grab a glass and do this together. Music teacher friends from all around the world, today I want you to embrace the upcoming gift of January. I know it feels early to start talking about the new year. I'm not super excited about it either, but a little forward thinking now is going to be the best gift you can give yourself come 2023. How many times have you found yourself planning a new policy or expectation only to end up getting caught in the weeds of communicating that thing, and then somehow the idea just dies on the vine? I don't want that for you. So today we are toasting our intuition. Our guts are telling us that there is something we can do to make our studio lives better. You're thinking of something. I want you to embrace that. Play around with the idea. Run some scenarios through your brain. See if you can make some headway as we approach this true gift of January. And this is me saying cheers to better futures, my dear teacher friends. Hear, hear. That's today's replay, friends. If you are interested in the transcript for today's episode or in any of the related links that I have mentioned, just head to the show notes in your podcast app of choice, or you can visit christinawhitlock.com/replay104. That's christinawhitlock.com/replay104. If you find yourself wanting to make an investment in your own teaching this year, I have opened the doors to my Studio Foundations course a little early this year. We will run an official 6-week session later in January, but if you are interested in jumping into the material earlier, I have opened up access to all 17 video lessons so you can explore them at your leisure this holiday season. The Studio Foundations course covers key approaches to teaching that I credit as keeping me effective and satisfied in this work for the long haul. If you feel like you need to press the refresh button on your teacher life, this course is for you. Again, that link is in the show notes, or you can head to christinawhitlock.com/foundations for more info. Thanks for hanging with me today, my friends. I am so happy to be spending the holiday season in your ears, and I look forward to hearing all of the ways that you are going to make your own studio lives better this coming year. Onward and upward toward recognizing the gift of January.